This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bullspend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
It's Adam here, and on Mondays I've created a feature called Modeling Excellence Monday, and it really comes from what drew me to hypnosis. And the precursor to hypnosis for me was neurolinguistic programming, and at the very core it had a wonderful premise, and that premise is that you can get what you want if you model the beliefs and strategies of other people, that you don't need to reinvent the wheel, that if someone has a strategy that works, you can model that strategy and implement it into your life. And what I found is that the NLP process of elicitation and modeling is really good to figure out what the thing is. And there are endless books telling you what to do. And people are more than welcome and willing to share their strategies. But why is it that we are surrounded by infinite information and yet very little of that information actually changes who we actually are and what we actually do? And that's why Modeling Excellence Monday is about me taking these strategies either from thought leaders or experts or people that are very unique in a certain area and eliciting the strategies and then turning it into a hypnosis session. Now, one of the world's most famous thought leaders when it comes to habits is a gentleman called James Clear, and he has a book, very famous book, called Atomic Habits. And there's certain principles in this that uses behavioral psychology and other elements of psychology so that you increase the probability of breaking a habit that doesn't serve you or introducing a habit that is useful for you. And there's various techniques like habit stacking and creating these chain reactions linked to rituals, all very useful. But there are 7 key components that I want to address now because you're going to hear them in this hypnosis session. And number 1 is all about identity. And here's the interesting thing. A lot of people are trying to change their behavior, but their identity is incongruent with that. If someone believes at the very core that they are a smoker and they try and quit smoking, eventually a smoker smokes. So the worst thing you can be is a smoker that doesn't smoke. And if you look at a smoker on a plane where they can't smoke for maybe 9-10 hours of a long haul flight, they are annoyed and frustrated and cranky because they are a smoker. That's their identity. But the behavior means that they're not smoking. And I want you to think about who are you at the identity level so that even if you change your behavior, it would be incongruent. Someone that takes pride in comfort and, they're a foodie and they love cakes and biscuits. if they set the goal to lose weight and get fitter, that's going to collide with the identity, and the identity is going to beat the behavior every single time. So identity trumps behavior. The second way of thinking about it is that every action that you do is a vote toward your identity. So at the identity level, I consider myself a hypnotist. In fact, the name of my podcast is The Hypnotist. Not that I do hypnosis, but that I am a hypnotist. And every time I work with a client, every time I create a new hypnosis session, that is a vote on that identity of being a hypnotist. But I'm also an investor. So every time I evaluate a trade or acquire a new asset, that's a vote on my investor identity. And every time I have a workout and lift heavy weights or achieve a new personal best, that's a vote for my strong identity. I believe that I am strong and capable and fit. So when I have the actions, it reinforces that identity. What's also interesting is that sometimes the goals that we have are not quite aligned with things that we want. So I've heard people, because I do this a lot, and they say, right, I want to be a business owner. And you say, right, what would it take for you to be a business owner? And then they start thinking of responsibilities, and they start thinking of risks that they could take. And you can see the emotional reaction is that that is not appealing to them. So a lot of people want the outcome, but they don't want to do the thing that would lead to that outcome. So making it obvious and attractive and satisfying that the journey itself is fulfilling is really important. There's a lot of people that want to have a podcast but don't enjoy recording. You've got to make the process enjoyable. The other thing, and it really comes from I think it's Brailsford that created this idea of marginal gains, but James Clear utilizes this idea of incremental progress. A lot of people, when they make the New Year's resolutions to get fit and strong, they go into the gym and they start lifting ego lifts, heavy weights that they can't manage, and then they get injured or they get exhausted and it feels painful. What's more likely to make real progress is incremental gains. You lift a tiny bit heavier than before, or you reduce sugar and snacks and instead replace it with healthy foods. And when you do that consistently over a long period of time, you're voting for the identity that you want, but those gains compound on each other and it takes you in an entirely different direction. And in the hypnosis, there's a metaphor of a tiny 1 degree difference in trajectory takes two people on virtually the same path into entirely different destinations. And that's important for that element. It's fine to go off track. Everyone does. I miss a workout every now and then. I publish an episode most days, but there might be the occasional day that I just am not able to publish an episode. But I'm not inconsistent for a very long period of time. So you can look back over previous episodes and see that it's very rare that I will have 2 days in a row where I don't publish an episode. So there's this idea of never missing twice. A blip is okay, but if it becomes a trend, then actually you're voting for a different identity. The environmental elements. I have this podcasting studio built up. I have friends that when they podcast, they've got to get everything ready and everything kitted out. That creates friction. That makes it more difficult for them to do that thing. I have a particular drawer in my home that has all of my gym stuff. So my lifting gloves, my trainers, my jogging bottoms, it's all there. So when I make the decision to go to the gym, it takes me 1 minute to have everything that I need. So having everything that you need on hand reduces friction and you increase the probability of doing the very thing that you want to do. So it doesn't matter if it's recording a podcast or going to the gym or doing something else. Make it very, very easy, almost effortless to do that thing. And the final point in this hypnosis session that you're about to hear is that plateaus are natural. I work with a lot of people in the area of weight loss, and the one thing that is most likely to interrupt someone's progress in terms of weight loss is a plateau. It's almost there's an unconditional rule that they are happy to be on the diet or they're happy to exercise and be active on the proviso, on the condition that they see regular weight loss. And the moment they don't see the weight loss, then quite often they quit and they go back to eating exactly the food that they feel like they've been missing out on. And then it undoes all of the hidden progress that they can't see. And that's one thing that quite often, if you do the thing consistently, suddenly it's plateau and then a breakthrough, and then a plateau and then a breakthrough. And a lot of people give up on the verge of a breakthrough just because they weren't patient enough to keep doing the thing, even if they didn't see the results yet. So there's a lot going on in this hypnosis session. It's only a half an hour hypnosis session, but it's linked to the ideas of James Clear and Atomic Habits weaved into a hypnosis session. So if you don't want to read the book, and by the way, I recommend that you either read the book or listen to the audiobook, but if you just want to install the concepts of Atomic Habits, this hypnosis session distills those principles and turns it into a hypnosis session. Now, in the show notes, there is also going to be a link where you can nominate someone else or a different expert that I can create a hypnosis session. So if you've got a favorite author, maybe it links to something spiritual or investing or something else, or maybe there's a hero of yours and you're like, can you take that person's ideas and turn it into a hypnosis session? Click the link in the show notes, put in your nomination as to who you want me to model their strategies and turn it into a hypnosis session. I'm going to see that, and that's where I'm going to get future inspiration for future episodes is from you, the listeners, but you need to nominate the person that you want me to build the session based on. That's the Modeling Excellence Monday, and I'm intending to do this every Monday. So if you have an idea, please click that link and put that nomination in. And if you would like to work with me directly, there's also going to be links in the show notes where you can have a suitability test or watch a webinar that I've created and those kind of things. So check those out as well. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and resourceful relaxation. And as you exhale, give permission to release any echoes of tension, stress, or worries. Just allow them to leave your body in that outward breath. And when you breathe in deeper than you normally would. And as you exhale, if they aren't already, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, feel a release, as if you're choosing to let go. And every outward breath facilitates that release, so that the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. A wonderful cycle of ever-increasing relaxation. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine observing your life the way a stranger would. But if they were just spying on your life, what would they notice? And I want you to imagine a forest, and perhaps what you would look like walking around that forest. Because there's something interesting about the way forests grow. Most people notice the trees, the height, the branches, the leaves, the sound, as the breeze goes through the branches. They observe the visible evidence that growth has happened. And yet, the most important part of any tree remains unseen: the roots. Perhaps you've noticed that humans often make the same mistake with themselves. They focus too much on outcomes, the visible results, the numbers, the targets, the destinations, and sometimes forget that every visible result is simply evidence of something much deeper, something beneath the surface, the thing that preceded it. And perhaps as you listen now, you can become curious about what happens when attention shifts away from outcomes and instead focuses on origins, away from results and towards identity. Because long before someone becomes healthy, they become someone who takes care of themselves. And long before someone becomes financially successful, they become someone who consistently creates value for the world. And before confidence appears in the world, it becomes part of who someone believes they are. And aren't identities interesting things? Because they rarely arrive all at once. They emerge gradually, quietly, almost unnoticed. You've observed that version of you walking through the forest, that woodland. And then imagine taking that first-person perspective. So it's now you walking down that path in that ancient woodland. And not rushing, no destination, simply noticing. And after a while, you come across a stone marker, weathered and old, perhaps slightly covered in moss. And carved into that stone are just 4 words. This is who I am. And perhaps at first those words seem familiar, because everyone carries a collection of identities, and some are chosen, some are inherited, and some are just borrowed from experiences long forgotten. And while many people spend years trying to change behaviours, they also simultaneously are protecting identities that make the very behaviours they want to change inevitable that they continue. Trying to become disciplined, but still believing deep down they are undisciplined. Trying to be strong or healthy or fit, but their identity sees them as someone that values comfort, or trying to become confident when there is an identity deep down organized around low self-worth and self-doubt. And perhaps it becomes obvious that behavior is often simply identity expressing itself, like roots creating branches. Nobody questions why an apple tree produces apples, or why a grapevine produces grapes. That is who they are. The fruit is just the outcome of who they are at the very core. And as you continue along this path, you might begin to wonder if there are identities within you ready to be retired, and others waiting on the sidelines, patiently waiting to be adopted, and not forced or manufactured, simply chosen. And further along that path, there is a small village within the ancient forest. And at the very center of that village stands an old wooden ballot box. Simple, ordinary, nothing remarkable, except that people approach the ballot box constantly, dropping tiny slips of paper into the box, one after another, morning until night. And eventually you realize something unusual and yet interesting. The slips are not opinions. They are actions, tiny actions. A glass of water here, a walk there, a conversation, a decision, a promise kept, or a promise delayed, a page read, a workout completed, a bedtime honored. And with every action, another vote enters the box. And not voting for a politician or a government, voting for an identity. Because every action quietly answers the same question. Who are you becoming? And suddenly there's less pressure. Because elections are never won by a single vote. And if you go to the gym once, nothing happens. You're just a tourist. One mistake never defines anyone. A snack or a treat here or there doesn't suddenly make you fat. And just as one success doesn't make you successful, one failure doesn't make you a failure. It's the accumulation, the pattern, the trend, the broad direction. And perhaps your unconscious mind can appreciate just how liberating that is. And I wonder, who do you want to be? And what do you need to do consistently to vote for that identity? You walk through the village. The village is behind you now, and you arrive at a house. And this house has an unusual quality in that it changes people. And not through force, not through persuasion, simply through design. In one room, healthy food is visible and accessible. In another room, books rest exactly where hands naturally reach. The walking shoes wait beside the door. The distractions are distant and difficult, and the useful things are close. And people who enter this house often believe they have become more disciplined, but they haven't. The environment changed first. The behaviour followed. And perhaps there is a wisdom in recognizing that success often comes not from becoming stronger than temptation, but from becoming wiser than it. Designing a life where the desired behavior becomes easier, more obvious, more attractive, more natural, as though the environment itself gently nudges you, beckons you toward becoming the person you want to become. You leave that house where everything useful has no friction, and all those bad habits have lots of friction. And as you leave that house, you walk towards a wide valley, and no longer in the forest. The forest is behind you. But in the distance, you see two travelers, both heading in different directions. And at first, they seem almost side by side. The difference between them barely visible. Just a slight variation in direction. 1 degree, one small adjustment, almost nothing. And yet, as time passes, that small degree of separation means the gap widens and widens and widens, until eventually they arrive in completely different worlds. And perhaps that is how change really happens. Not through revolutionary change or dramatic transformation, but through evolutionary change. Tiny decisions repeated consistently. The small improvements, the small corrections, small votes compounding, accumulating, building quietly beneath awareness. But every traveler occasionally stumbles. Every gardener misses a day. Every musician skips practice every now and then. Every athlete has an off day. And every human being is imperfect. And the people who succeed are not the people who never miss. They are the people who return quickly, without drama or over-analysis, and without self-criticism, without needing to turn a moment into a pattern. There is a profound difference between interruption and abandonment. A missed day changes nothing. A missed week begins creating momentum. And perhaps your unconscious mind can learn something valuable. That recovery is often more important than perfection. Returning is more important than never leaving. And what if consistency is not the absence of mistakes, but the ability to reconnect quickly after them? It's not an issue to fall down. It's an issue to stay down. But if when you get off track, when you fall off, you get back up quickly to do what you were doing before the blip, well then there's no issue at all. And as you continue on that long winding path past the valley, it eventually leads to a frozen lake, silent and still, covered in thick ice. And nearby sits the thermometer, and the temperature begins to rise. 1 degree, nothing changes. Another degree, nothing changes. Another, and still nothing. And if someone only watched the surface, they might conclude that no progress was occurring. Yet, beneath the ice, everything is changing. Molecules shifting, structures reorganizing, conditions evolving, preparing, adjusting, and just getting ready. And then, just like the straw that breaks the camel's back, a threshold is crossed. And suddenly what seemed impossible moments before becomes inevitable. The ice melts. And not because of that final degree, but because of every degree that came before it. And I want you to think, how many times have you given up on something because you hadn't seen the result yet? It's a tendency for humans to abandon efforts during invisible progress. We make the mistake of delaying results and thinking they are absent results, when in reality, the breakthrough is frequently already underway. It's just hidden, just beneath the surface, just waiting for sufficient accumulated votes. And I want you to think of of just one change in your life. Maybe it's a change that would lead to being healthier, more financially successful, a better friend, partner, or better in business or in your career. And just start to allow your unconscious mind to connect all these ideas together until something interesting happens. Identity influences action, and actions reinforce identity. The environment shapes the action, and those same actions compound over time. When setbacks become temporary, patience becomes natural, until suddenly, change no longer feels like a battle. It feels inevitable, like becoming increasingly congruent with who you have decided to be. Perhaps this is the real lesson, that lasting transformation rarely comes from forcing yourself to do something different. It comes from becoming someone different, and then allowing behaviour to follow naturally, like roots creating branches, and like seeds contributing to a bigger forest, or a person becoming exactly who they have been voting to become all along. And as you leave, the lake that was frozen, and you observe the house without friction, and you feel the energy of all of the branches in the forest coming from the roots deep below, you start to float back to your reality, taking all of these ideas with you. And what if these ideas unconsciously shape your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, and each one is voting for the very identity necessary to sustain the changes you've been desiring all along. So it's time to leave this place. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.